Adrielle Sigler. Okay, y'all, buckle up because Adrielle has once again turned a simple night out into an 8-minute soap opera. And this time, it's Taco Bell, Austrians, fat shaming, forks, cheese, and somehow world geography. Like, how do we even get here? Let's get into it.
Yesterday, I got body shamed in public, which is actually crazy. What's crazier is that I ignored it for about 10 minutes until I finally couldn't ignore it anymore. I ordered food to a bar. The food I ordered is vegan because I'm vegan. A lot of people don't know that Taco Bell accommodates vegans and they have a vegan-friendly menu. I was sitting by myself at a bar. An Austrian couple with their American friend asked if I could please move down one seat so they could have the 3 seats beside me. I said, yeah, sure. So I give up my seat. I move over a space. I'm enjoying my alone time because I don't get much alone time. And I'm sitting at the bar waiting for my food, listening to music, looking at my phone, having drinks alone. I love it. And the Austrians were feeling talkative. They looked at me and asked, do you know where Austria is? And I said, yes, I do. Are you Austrian? And they said, yes, we are. And it's Austria, not Australia. And I said, yep, I'm aware. Austria is in Europe, and Australia is thousands of miles away. It's its own continent. And they started laughing. I asked, do you think I'm some dumb American who doesn't know how to locate a country on a map or a continent? And they just laughed. Like, they were so rude. Like, just by immediately saying, do you know where Austria is? They were already assuming that I was thinking Australia, which was really annoying. And so I'm just like... So then I just, like, go back in my little bubble, my own corner, and I see the food arrived. So I leave my stuff at the bar. I go outside. I meet the driver. I pick up my bag of food, and I go sit back down. I ordered a vegan black bean chalupa, seasoned plain rice with a vegan burrito that had, both the chalupa and burrito had guacamole on them. The chalupa was incredible. I'm obsessed. And at one point, I'm about to start having some rice, but there was no fork in the bag. So I start talking to myself, like, there's no fork. And the Austrians said, what do you need? And I looked, I said, I just thought there would be a fork for my food. They said, well, what is that? I said, rice. And they said, oh, rice. What restaurant is that? And I said, Taco Bell. I'm vegan. And they said something along the lines of, we don't have Taco Bell in Austria. And I said, yeah, you probably don't have many Mexican restaurants in Austria. The American asks the Austrian couple, okay, just see part 2 because I only have 10 seconds left. I'll finish this story in part 2. It got bad. Move to America if you don't like Americans? That's my question, because I was body shamed yesterday. This is part 2. So part 2, go rewind and watch part 1 before this. I'm sitting alone at a bar where I DoorDashed vegan Taco Bell because I'm vegan, and Taco Bell is the only vegan-friendly restaurant open at midnight for delivery. I'm looking for a fork in my bag of food. The Austrian couple and their American friend are sitting next to me, eavesdropping. They hear me talking to myself, rummaging through the bag, and I'm saying, there's no fork. The Austrian couple asks what I'm eating. I said, rice. I'm vegan. They ask what restaurant this is. I said, Taco Bell. The Austrian couple says, we don't have Taco Bell in Austria. And I said, yeah, you probably don't have very many Mexican restaurants in Austria. And the American friend asks the Austrian couple this question: what is the first restaurant that comes to mind when you hear the words Taco Bell? And really smug and snarky, both of them, the husband and the wife, said McDonald's. This triggers the fuck out of me because I'm vegan, but I'm just ignoring it. And then they just start thinking of fat people, fast food, all while I'm like grateful. Like, I'm very serious about, like, when it comes to eating. I don't like eating around people. I'm sitting alone. I'm obviously not interested in talking to them. So I just completely ignore it. And then they just start ripping into American culture, fast food, da-da-da. They are laughing, sneering. It's bad. At one point, they said, why don't you just eat the rice with your hands? And they start, like, making fun of me because I don't have a fork. And I look at them, and I said, you have a good point. So I just eat the rice with my hands. I have no problem with it. The rice came in a tiny little cup anyway that was about, like, literally this big. It was just a small $1.50 side of rice. They start laughing at me, and they are literally at this point fat shaming me, which is insane. And I am completely just like blacking out them. Like I'm blacking them out. And then I hear them like calm down, no more laughing. And then they both agree. Yeah, I've never eaten at Taco Bell before. Never eaten at Taco Bell. And I'm proud of that statement. And they're just like, it's bad. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm still ignoring it. I'm taking pictures of my food, completely ignoring it. And then the American beside me starts talking about better restaurants and blah, 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 blah. Finally, at this point, after about 10 minutes go by, I'm done eating my food. I get my bag ready to throw away. I walk to the bathroom, throw the bag in the trash can. I wash my hands. I go back to my seat. I sit down and see part 3 because I only have 10 seconds left. 3, I was body shamed by a couple of Austrians who just moved to the United States. Please go back, watch this in order, parts 1 and 2. Drinking on an empty stomach is dangerous. I had not eaten at all that day except for a handful of pistachios. I knew I needed food. I'm vegan. I ordered vegan food from Taco Bell. It was midnight. Not many restaurants are open, let alone vegan-friendly restaurants or vegan restaurants. I had finally gotten done eating after being body shamed and fat shamed for 10 minutes straight, berated by this couple of Austrians and their American friend. I throw my napkins and remains into the bag. I ball it up. I walk to the bathroom. I throw my bag in the trash bin. I wash my hands and I go back to my seat at the bar and I sit down. I take a few sips of my water. I set it down. I take a sip of my mixed drink. I set it down and I look at the Austrian couple who take such pride in the fact they've never eaten at Taco Bell. And I look at them both and I ask them this question. I ask, are either of you vegan? And they both looked at each other and they looked at me and they said, no, we're not vegan. I said, okay, neither of you are vegan. Why do you think it's so cool that you can say you've never eaten at Taco Bell in your life if you spent all of your lives sponsoring and endorsing the abuse, cruelty, and murder of animals, innocent animals? This obviously leads to a huge argument. Oh, I like cheese. I blah, blah, blah. Yeah. The woman says, well, I tried to be vegetarian. Then the man says, look at my body. And I said, your body will look the same with or without cheese. And cheese is the most addictive animal product of them all, and it's high cholesterol, whereas vegan cheese has no cholesterol. We get into this long argument, and this is why I don't like eating around people. This is why I literally don't eat around people. I will not go on a date with someone and eat in front of someone. I will not eat in restaurants. Apparently, when I'm sitting alone at a bar, I can't even sit alone in my own bubble without people interjecting. Because ultimately, when you're not vegan, you don't have gratitude for food. You are subconsciously guilty and feel shame when you see food because your mind knows that you're sponsoring the murder of animals when you're not vegan, which is why people have such a negative connotation in the presence of someone eating, because it subconsciously triggers all the death they consume on a daily basis. That's the truth. I will never feel shame or guilt when I'm eating because there's no blood on my hands. Nonetheless, that was crazy. They ended up apologizing. By the way, and we both carried on with our nights. But what the hell?
So Adrielle claims she was just minding her business at a bar. And y'all already know when she says that, the opposite is about to happen. She orders herself Taco Bell like it's a 5-star delivery, sits down with her little chalupa and side of rice, and here come this Austrian couple with their American sidekick. From the jump, they're giving, we think we're smarter than you energy, asking her if she knows where Austria is. Like, babe, relax. Nobody's failing geography over a burrito. Then suddenly, it's, we don't eat Taco Bell, we're proud of that. Okay, cool. And I've never been to the moon, but you don't see me bragging about it. Like, why are you proud of skipping out on a crunch wrap? That's not character development. That's just boring. And here's where it gets messy. They start laughing at her, shaming her, telling her to eat her rice with her hands because she didn't have a fork. Imagine being that invested in somebody else's $1.50 side of rice. Like, please, worry about your own plate. But Adrielle, instead of ignoring them, decides it's time for her vegan power hour. She's not preaching. Cheese is addictive. Vegan cheese has no cholesterol. There's blood on your hands. Girl, no one asked for a lecture. They boy asked why you don't have a fork. Then the man hits her with, "Look at my body, sir. The only body we see is your ego inflated bigger than a Taco Bell soda cup. Sit down." By the end, Adrielle's like, "This is why I don't eat around people. This is why I don't date. This is why I don't go out." Like, girl, maybe it's not all the people. Maybe the common denominator is you. Because somehow, only Adrielle could turn a quiet night out into a 3-part saga about Taco Bell, Austria, fat shaming, and cheese. I swear it's giving main character syndrome with extra hot sauce. On. Would you have even moved your seat for them in the first place or nah? Be real. If your food showed up with no fork, are you eating with your hands or waiting it out? Why do people get so proud of never eating at places like Taco Bell? Like, who cares? And y'all think Adrielle was actually body shamed here, or did she just turn it into a whole performance? Who came off worse in this story? Adrielle with her vegan lecture, or the Austrians clowning her over rice? And most importantly, is cheese really that addictive? Or is Adrielle just reaching? So, what do you guys think about this? Comment below and let's chat.